Pretty good stuff. Sherlock is sold to over 200 territories across the world. The final Sherlock Series 3, His Last Fail, generated 10,000 tweets a minute. It's the biggest show on TV. It's the best show on TV. You can get the whole of Series 3 on iTunes, as well as the Series 1 to 3 Deluxe Edition with loads of added extras. Get it now. And that's the reason we're here. And the even more exciting reason we're here is to welcome the people who make and star in the show. So please welcome to the stage super producer Sue Virtue. There she is. Co-creator and writer, Stephen Moffat. Well, it's Benedict Cumberbatch. It's... And let's welcome Amanda Abbington. Now, this was the advertised lineup. They're all here. They've all come. They're all taking their time out. We have got an extra special, previously unannounced guest. Amanda tweeted earlier that it was her special pal, I think. So here comes Amanda's special pal, Martin Freeman. This is like, you're never all in the same place apart from when you're filming Sherlock, are you? So this is pretty special. Yeah. I guess this feels like, you've done a lot of panels, you do a lot of Q&As, but this feels like the one after it's all gone out now. It's done. It's the biggest show on TV. Ratings were higher than ever. It's watched by 20 million people in China. How does it feel to be, Sue, how does it feel to be in charge of this absolute cultural phenomenon? And how does it feel, the reaction that you got of this for this series?
In charge of it, I think
You're
it's weird.
in charge.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in charge, yeah. It's quite a lineup, isn't it?
It is.
For a post, yeah.
It is.
It's fantastic. I mean, look at this. This is fantastic,
Yeah.
I think. And it's great to hear about China, which I think was 30 plus
30
million.
million,
isn't
sorry,
it? Yeah.
30 million.
But also, we're proud of the show. We love making the show, and it's great to be together again.
Yeah. Steve, how does it feel? Did the reaction and the 13.6 million, I think, people who watched it on TV, the first episode, and the...
not including iPlayer.
Not including iPlayer.
16 million.
16 million.
Yeah.
Did it feel... Were you surprised by just how that it's getting even bigger and bigger?
Series don't do this. It's a common myth that series grow. They don't. Hit shows start high and slowly drift down. So it's extraordinary for Sherlock to be drifting up. So yeah, of course it's a surprise. Everything about Sherlock's success, including the 30 million Chinese people, has been a success. Heaven knows what they make of it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they love it. Well,
Yeah.
The Chinese particularly love you, don't they? Benedict? The Chinese particularly love you.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently
Yeah.
so, which I'm very flattered by.
Yeah. Now, in terms of this series, let's talk about this series.
Yeah.
It felt like the series was a lot about kind of deepening your characters, and kind of humanising Sherlock. But did it feel that way to you? Did it feel like this was taking a new turn in that sense?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think that's what's sort of happened as a character arc over the first two series as well. But where you left him, there was a 2-year gap, and I think in that time he was on his own and just lost a lot of the social skills and contact with humanity that he had through his relationship and friendship with John. So I think 3 is obviously about this relationship now, and also through that he discovers far more again about what makes him a better detective and a better human being through his relationship with now Mary and John. But yeah, and also you discover a lot more about him. You even get a glimpse at a suggested backstory, and the depth of relationship with Mycroft has gone some further distance, and you understand that he came from something. He has 2 very normal, fucking amazing parents.
Yeah.
And I always swear when I'm talking about my mother, I'm going to get into trouble. That was a joy to play. Actually, it was really, that was a lovely thing to have, to sort of deepen him as a human being,
Talking of
and
your
still turn him in as the number one world's consulting detective.
Yeah. Talking of I mean, that moment when your parents arrived, I was at the screening at the BFI, and there was just like a huge sea of warmth. Kind of got over people.
Yeah, it was getting hot. It was getting hot.
It was
no, sorry, that was
Yeah.
crude. We talked about this before. I'm going to leave the jokes to Martin. It's much better that way. I loved the fact that they were so well received when that happened, and it was a lovely sort of slightly delayed ripple of warmth.
Yeah.
The reaction kind of grew. Oh no. Talk about my parents. But it did. It was just, I think, because not everyone recognises them immediately as being my parents. I mean, even my godparents, some relatives, and just long time family friends sort of sat down on New Year's Day and watched it, and was sort of in such a state of shock when they thought they heard Wanda's voice and then Tim's, and then saw them, and it was still sort of a wide-ish shot. And they went like, no, couldn't quite believe it in their own way watching the telly. So yeah, it was a lovely thing though.
No, absolutely brilliant. And how did it feel to have the young you played by Louis Moffat as well?
It's lovely, and I thought he was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought he was amazing. He was so good. Oh. Really, really moving. He's doing an audition at the moment. Good luck, Louis. Yeah. It was very nice to share his first professional gig with him.
Did you force him to audition, Stephen? I bet you did, didn't you? I know what you're like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily the thing that delights a parent's heart when your son says, "I want to be an actor." Sorry, I realised that was deeply offensive. And he said he wanted to try for the part, and we said to him, "Look, you will be up against other actors for the part, and it will be auditioned properly, and us two will not have a say in whether or not you get the part." And he said to me, in a sort of understanding tone, "You are the worst father ever."
Yeah.
Thankfully, he did get the part. Otherwise, he'd have packed his bags and moved out.
Because we also said things to him like, you won't get it. You've got the wrong coloured eyes. He said, "I'll wear contact lenses." I mean,
did he have his hair done like a kind of dyed, or was it? No.
It was a bit darker,
Yeah,
but
he
did wear blue contact lenses as
Yeah,
well.
wow.
We dressed up our son as Sherlock Holmes. This is the
great,
headline here, isn't it?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
wonderful.
good
Though. Similarly wonderful is the casting of Amanda. Now, did you have any other? Was there any other option, or was it always you were definitely going to get Amanda for that role? She was perfect for that role.
Oh, well,
Amanda's looking inquisitive.
We asked Martin, and and at the end of his list, actually, when Mark, Sue, and I were talking about it, we just thought, well, obviously, who else would end up with Martin Freeman? There isn't anyone else as credible with. So we went for it. Also, she is, in addition to that, it turned out, luckily, an actress. So we thought it would be good to.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. She's worked in several other things. It just fitted perfectly. And this show, born of a friendship and a marriage, has always sort of worked that way. So why resist it? You might think we're keeping the circle tight and it's all a bit nepotistic. Yeah, bloody right.
Yeah.
People say there's a problem of nepotism in television, but we have no problem with it whatsoever. We're brilliant at it.
No Sherlock fan has a problem with nepotism, no, because the two of you are married, in case anyone doesn't know, and you've produced the greatest show. So yeah. Now, did you though, Amanda, have any? Did you worry about the people getting annoyed but in the end, as soon as we saw you on screen, I think everyone was like, this is working.
I was quite scared. Yeah. Initially, when they announced that I was playing Mary, there was a lot of like ripples of, oh, she's going to ruin it, and I hope I didn't. I don't. I mean, they wrote her so that she wouldn't be divisive and she would just be another strong female character, and I hope that comes across. Really. Yeah.
Well, before we get into a little chat about that, and Martin hasn't even spoken yet, and he's like the surprise special guest. Let's have a look.
It's just somebody who looks like him.
Yeah, no, it's really him.
It's
really
John
him.
Sim.
Don't say that. Let's remind, as if you didn't know, let's remind ourselves of this key moment from episode 1. I like him. I thought that's like the key moment, isn't it? When that's such a kind of surprise, really, that you've got that attitude. Then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's good writing.
Great writing.
Yeah.
Great writing. Martin, how did it feel? Hello. Welcome. I know you're kind of you like to do things right properly. How did you feel having your long-term life partner acting up against him? Was it as you expected, acting together and doing those scenes?
We've done bits and pieces before. We met on a job sort of 13 or 14 years ago, so we'd done bits together before. Nothing as detailed as this, nothing as sort of long as this. But I was hopeful that it would work, and I mean, not just because I know Amanda is a fantastic actor, she's genuinely very, very good at her job. We hadn't done that much together, but I thought it would work. You know, she knew everybody sort of round and about. Everybody connected with the show round and about. Mark had worked with her before, and Sue and Stephen in a small capacity before, and it went exactly as I hoped it would, or better than I hoped it would. Actually, it was dead easy and a real pleasure to have her around. Actually,
and was it fun filming your wedding? Because obviously, I mean, you're not married.
It was terrible.
Let's get that clear.
We hated it.
It was really good fun actually.
Yeah,
it was.
it was.
The wedding was. I loved doing the wedding. It was a beautiful few days, wasn't it? It was a lovely
Like
few
being on
days
holiday.
in a lovely set,
For you,
lovely
then.
people. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like we got to watch
Yeah,
Ben
holiday
do a
for me.
monologue.
Yeah,
For
It
5
was,
days.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. We just
Yeah, it
sat
was
there
great.
going like that.
Yeah.
You got some great
we were
wedding
just playing
photos,
games
haven't you?
between
Yeah.
takes.
And
while
playing
Ben
guitar.
was
I
having
think
a nervous breakdown.
Rupert Graves was playing a guitar, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And we played Give Us a Clue with Una Stubbs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
dream. Ben, you had to learn like 45 pages of dialogue or
It
something.
was quite a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite a lot. I didn't learn how many pages it was, but it was quite a lot. It was great fun, though. It was very rewarding, and I had the most extraordinary actors to play with in that moment, and so I felt very, very supported, and it was genuinely fun. It felt a little bit like a weird one-man show, but with lots of incredible actors reacting in the audience at certain points, but it was nice to get to the end of the week and finally discover who they were and have a drink with them and have something to eat. And we were all in Bristol. It did feel a little bit like we were out of the comfort zone of either London or Cardiff, but in a weird way that made it easier to just sort of isolate myself and just focus on it. It was hard work, but really enjoyable.
And in that,
I have this idea of them when they're sort of, 95 or something. You look at these wedding photos and thinking, I don't remember any of those people.
Yeah, right.
Who are those friends?
Yeah, we must have been so drunk.
And in that,
But actually, I should mention all the extras as well were fantastic. I mean,
so
they were really,
they had to
really
be there
good.
for the whole week.
Yeah, they did, and so we got to know some of them really well as
Yeah.
well, and they were wonderful and very equally supportive. Actually,
Yeah.
they were terrific to work with.
It's a typical audacious piece of Moffat writing. I mean, that was co-written, that whole episode, wasn't it, the three of you? But to have such a huge, epic, long centerpiece, a mystery that didn't really arrive until quite late on. You didn't even know there was mystery there. That seemed like the most audacious episode so far to me. Did it feel like
It is. And I think it's the one that separates the children from the grown-ups, really, because it's you don't even know that there's a mystery that you're ever going to get a solution to until he drops his glass. Right. And we didn't lose a viewer. Everyone stayed with it. People loved that episode. And yeah, it's a Sherlock Holmes film in which we don't admit there's going to be a heroic crime-solving bit until very close to the end. I kind of love that episode. I mean, it's one of my absolute favourites. And just for the nonsense of such a long speech being the centrepiece of it, as it is at every wedding.
Yeah.
I've been a best man 3 times, so get my fourth go at doing a best man speech was excellent.
And it had everything, because it was brilliant and yet kind of terrible, and like it was just had emotional, and it kind of was the speech in which we kind of saw the real nature, for me anyway, of the love between the two of you in a sense.
Absolutely, until it tipped into really volatile, sort of near schizophrenic levels of dual purpose, and I think then it was pretty terrifying, and it's back to the normal gear of Sherlock, and but as loyal as ever, he was like, "No, I'm onto this," and Vatican cameos obviously being the cue for that, and but yeah, it was really nice to play with that idea that he's going to be himself and a shit at the beginning, and then explain that he is a shit, and that's why he's so surprised he's been asked to be a best man, let alone a friend of this extraordinary man that he's lucky enough to have met, and. It's a very fine line to tread. Very fine line to tread, but I think we got away with it. And then you crash in with the mystery, and I thought it was a wonderfully complex bit of storytelling as well. I'm very fond of that episode.
Can we talk about how funny the show is? Because I don't know if you read critics, but there's a critic in America on the New Yorker called Emily Nussbaum who wrote a brilliant review, who said about the test of a really good serious drama is how funny it is. I thought it was brilliant, and particularly this series felt to me like the funniest one ever, and yet obviously it gets brilliantly dark, particularly in episode 3. Did it feel that way to you, Martin? There's such funny stuff going on in this.
Yeah, there was. I mean, I've always liked the fact that Stephen and Mark are funny writers. They can do funny, definitely. And we always enjoy the funny bits. I think like with that wedding episode. I definitely had reservations about when I read it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, because I thought that we talked about it, I kind of said, well, is this gone a bit too, mushy? Is it gone a bit, And Stephen, because I said, well, it seemed to be, well, he's being very, very adept at kind of all of a sudden being emotional and being fun. And Stephen was like, no, but here's the reasons. What, trust me, it's going to be, it'll be explained as to why, sort of thing, And what we're going to do in episode 3 is going to completely rip the rug from under people's feet, just as they think that they're seeing a slightly different sort of show. We'll give it to them both barrels, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing the drunk stuff, wasn't it?
It was. The drunk stuff was lovely. Yeah, the drunk stuff was really good fun. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there was. I regret there was one bit of that drunk stuff that was missing.
Was when a few bits. Well, there was a lot of improvisation.
Yeah, but there was a scene. There was the gay club scene.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Do you remember that?
Welcome to the interweb.
No, but
we talked about that
where
before
we
we
were
came on stage as well.
Absolutely mullered in the gay club.
Was that film? That film?
That was, yeah. Lots of topless men going past, and us just kind of like being, why are we here? Yeah,
and I had no idea as to why they didn't have their clothes on.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And eventually it dawned, and yeah, my sort of grounding shook.
We have to see that. Why isn't that on the deleted scenes?
Next scene.
And the first cut of that drunk scene was interminable. It would have killed you. It just went on and on and on. Okay. You'd have been hunting them down if we put it all in. So I think it's quite long, but it got to, I think, the right amount of time. Because it is the same joke over and over again. It's how often you can do that.
Is it hard to play that drunk? Drunk seems to me, as a non-actor, seems to be a really hard thing to do properly.
Well, I mean, I had the excuse that Sherlock is not adept at holding his liquor, but I think it's a masterclass watching Martin do it. Sherlock's drunkenness is arguably a thing of its own breed.
Yes.
It's not. It's quite separate, I think.
Yeah.
So I kind of got off the hook a little bit. There are certain things I probably wouldn't have done if I'd been someone who could hold their liquor a little bit more. But
it is hard. It is really hard.
And
I think, please God and thank God and everything. I think we got away. I think we did all right.
I think you definitely did. I worry about a couple of things I did. But, I really like the rest of the game. That was my favourite.
The game.
The game was good fun because it was loose and. But no, I think as we were both doing, I'm sure it was going through your head as well. It was definitely going through mine. Like, this could be really bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going dangerously close to being very poor here.
Yeah, very much. Very, very much.
That was my favourite bit when he goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can believe they kept that in. I saw it. Thought that was just me trying to make Ben laugh. But
that was absolutely the best bit. Yeah, that's completely fantastic. Yeah. And moving quickly on, I'm going to throw them to you guys, by the way, so you will have your chance very soon to ask your fantastic questions that will, I'm sure, be better than mine. Moving on to episode 3, so it all did get very dark in episode 3 with this absolutely horrific villain. Did you always have him? I know you plan these things very well. So did you always have in mind that we're going to do that particular villain in that type of way? And a big contrast to Moriarty, I guess.
Yeah, we knew what we wanted to do with Magnuson. We knew because we'd had the villain you sort of kind of love. With Moriarty, because he's so adorable and he's so funny. We wanted a villain who just made you absolutely physically repelled by him, and to make you believe that Sherlock Holmes would truly hate him. And the big things we knew that were going to happen in that episode is that we were going to have Sherlock do the fake engagement as he does in the original story, which appalled me when I read it as a child. I couldn't quite. I kept flicking back saying, "You did not. That is really horrible." I was really genuinely shocked by it. I kept waiting for him to say something nice about it, and he never did. Which is why I had to write in the scene where she gets her revenge. It was just me, comforting my 12-year-old self. And the other thing, we knew that Milverton dies in the original. He's shot dead. We knew that what we were going to do was make Sherlock Holmes do that. Make him say there was basically having lost the game, kick over the chessboard, I suppose. Just do that, because that would be so shocking. But it's what he'd do if John was in that degree of danger.
Yeah.
He simply would do it.
Yeah, because in that episode, we've seen him humanised up quite a lot. But in that episode, he does some horrible stuff. He's kind of.
Yeah, and he loses.
Right.
That's what happens, and that's why he does horrible things. And it is a form of self-sacrifice, but it's because he's outplayed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he does, and I really wanted to do that. I mean, I wanted him to be turned into something that was unforgivable, really, in a sense, and that it was his responsibility rather than a sort of external circumstance, that he was left with no choice because he trapped himself into a corner. And I was thrilled when I read the episode. I thought, this is fantastic. I dreamt out other ways that I wanted to kill him, which I'm glad we didn't do. It would have.
He had quite a long meeting with you demonstrating different ways you could kill Magnus. I could throttle him, and I was saying, well, it's a helicopter. They're going to shoot you.
You do
They're
one
not going to say,
film
is
where
he...
you throw people around some kind of a spaceship and you think you can kill anyone any kind of way. It's terrible. It really goes to your head very quickly. No, but I'm really happy that there was that dark edge brought back in, because there is that with him in the character. And you should both feel compelled by his company, but also you should really know how dangerous he is. He shouldn't be someone you want to cozy up to.
Yeah. And Amanda, you weren't told, were you, when you were doing episodes 1 and 2 of your that you're in fact a genius super spy kind of person?
They always said to me, Stephen and Mark always said, look, she's got a secret, but we're not telling you what it is yet. We haven't figured out the minutiae of it. So when we got episode 3, Martin and I read it in the sitting room, and when we got to that bit, we were like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me. I'm just because I basically try and kill Sherlock, although I don't. But it was great. It was great playing that, because it's the furthest thing you think she is, because you set her up as this very strong but lovable character. And so she's when you see her turn around, it's always a little, oh God, she's so exciting.
And do you think if you had known, you might have played it a bit differently? You might have been tempted to kind of give us a few hints?
Possibly. Yeah, I would have been more knowing, certainly. Yeah. So it was very nice not having that information, certainly.
Yeah. You thought it was something naturally knew a skip code, didn't you?
Yeah, because all people know that, right? Everybody knows what that is.
Yeah. But it's incredible that even though we saw the liar things that people saw, people still kind of didn't actually
I didn't even see that bit.
No, didn't you? People still thought, she might be reasons why he thinks that.
I honestly think it's because you like her.
Yeah.
The audience is blindsided exactly the way Sherlock Holmes is. Yeah. She's not the drag you thought the girlfriend might be. She's great fun. She's up for it. She likes Sherlock Holmes. She knows what a skip code is. She's very calm under pressure. You don't stop to think. And nobody's really like that.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't know she's the hero of an action series. How can she be all those things? So you are blindsided exactly the way Sherlock is. Because you like her, you ignore the obvious fact that she's yet another maniac in the show.
Yeah. Your fondness for psychopaths, Martin, yeah. And also, if it's hard to play drunk, hard to be flicked in the face like that in that incredible scene. Horrific scene. How did that work? Was it painful?
It was cold and painful. Yeah, it was like
3 days. Wasn't it?
Especially cold when a bigger man than you, which is a lot of people, is flicking you in the face. Sort of quite hard, quite hard. And
I would have cried after the first one.
Because he's got quite manly fingers as well, hasn't he? He's like, his fingers are like cricket bats.
Bang, there's another elm in your face.
And they make that kind of quang sound when it hits your sort of metallic sound.
Awful. I got the giggles. No, because his skull was resounding. There was like a donk sound that happened when bone hit bone.
God.
Some friend I am.
But because of the light,
wasn't
it? Because of the light, we had to go back and do it. It was 3 days. You were
something like that. It went over 3. It wasn't 3 full days. That was all we did.
Just sunset.
That would be bad. But it did cross over 3 days. I think. Yeah. But Lars was ever so nice about it. He was very apologetic. Every time he did it, he'd be sort of saying, sorry. But yeah, he was great. I mean, he was just I think we were all, even at the read-through, we were all like, Jesus Christ, this guy is serious.
Incredible.
He was so good,
Incredible. And what brilliant...
the loveliest man possible.
Really?
I'm not just saying that. He was all the crew, all the cast fell in love with him. He was a gorgeous human being.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Did the flicking idea? When you came out of that, you must have thought this is going to be horrible. This is going to really.
Well, it's so horribly small and petty, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just. And everything we tried to do with Magnus, he just does really petty things, like he wheezes in your fireplace. It's not a major diabolical thing to do. You can't even phone the police and say, get a squad car around here immediately. He's wheezed in my fireplace, can you? I think he might flick my face next. You can't do anything. They're not going to send a SWAT team for that. So it was just finding those tiny little things he can do. He ate my olive. I mean, look where he's washing his hands. It's these tiny little things.
Though, isn't it? It's the stuff you can get away with traumatizing, with just slowly chipping away at someone's sanity, and think you can get away with it. I'm really glad I shot his brains out.
Yeah, and also typical newspaper magnate as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm saying that.
You don't have to agree.
Well,
you're the one who works in print journalism, mate. So you fly with that one.
Magazines different. We're lovely magazines. Finally, before I'm going to throw open in a sec, I just have to ask about Moriarty. Obviously, now you did manage to incorporate him brilliantly in those amazing, funny, kind of twisted fantasy sequences that were brilliant. Clearly, you love Andrew Scott, and we saw him at the end. What can you? Did you? My question is, this may, without giving anything away, is the post-credits bit where you had him. That bit. What point did you decide to do it that way, to have that little post-credit extra excitement?
That was in the cutting room. It was actually Mark's idea when we were cutting. We just thought we'd get one more little blip of him. And because we'd shot the live action shot, which we hadn't used in the actual show, and putting that after the credits was just a final little treat, really, just to wind people up, I suppose.
Yeah. And is this final evidence that you do always lie about these things? Because people ask you always, is Moriarty... And you just...
I was as surprised as anyone when he turned up.
Okay.
Because he was definitely dead. You can't fake shooting yourself in the face. That's a fact. The back of his head came off. I don't know what's going on, and I can't wait for 4 or 5 years before we make the next series to find out.
Don't say that. Benedict, do you know what's happening there? Do you know? Yeah.
I could do that for 2 years.
Yeah.
I have. I've done that on many accounts of many things.
Yeah, fine. I've got to ask. Let's time. Yes, throw them to the right in the front, in the middle of the front row. There'll be a mic on its way so we can all hear you.
Coming off the last series with such great popularity and the great chemistry between John and Sherlock, how hard was it to kind of bring that chemistry back to life with this new season?
I don't think the chemistry is hard, because I've said over and over again that we can't take any credit for the chemistry. That's just luck. It's good luck or bad luck, whether you have it or you don't. We have to work at doing the stuff, but it really helps when you get those scripts through. There's nothing more pleasurable, I think, than, every actor wants the next script they get to be fantastic, and we're in a very lucky position that we, every once in a while we do a series where there's 3 scripts that are all fantastic, and it's genuinely exciting to do. So it didn't feel for me like you got to work at that because we know each other now, and we know what the drill is, and we know how the deal works, But within that, of course, you still have to work hard, like you do with every job. But I think we know our way around it now.
I found it a lot easier this time than the second time, not because of any chemical reasons or whatever, but because of just, I don't know, the first gap between the first and the second was a little bit weird. I remember staring at you on the first day going, oh yeah, I saw you on the television 2 years ago being rather good in something in the summer. In the summer. That changed. I don't know, it was much easier this time, much easier, which I was slightly wary of. I thought, am I getting a bit too comfortable, and the things we have to shift a little bit. That's my biggest fear, actually, is really it being sometimes too easy because of the scripts, because of what we've already established and how we work together. And I kind of go, we've got to keep evolving it and developing it and rethinking it. But we'll manage that for the next lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think part of the thing that I'm sure we're all mindful of, from every department of us is mindful of, I guess, is not playing your reviews, of not because, when we first did this, we filmed it 4 years ago, there were no reviews, and people seemed to quite like what we did, and we did that with no hindsight, with no knowledge about they'll like it if we do this, or I think I'll try this because I liked it when my eyes did that. Nothing like that, do you know what I mean? It's very hard to do this now. Well, it's impossible now to do it in a vacuum and pretend this isn't, a successful show. Thank God it is. But I think it's a good, my inner Catholic wants me to be rigorous and, strict about being the way that we were 4 years ago.
Protestant.
yeah.
The same. Maybe not quite as strict, but still, yeah.
You're pussies.
Burn, baby bell. Stop with the religion.
My inner Jew is going to go to that lady there in the second row. There you go. Yeah.
Hi. My question's for Martin, Amanda and Benedict. What were your favourite memories filming Series 3?
Pick one.
It's hard. There were lots. I had a lot of fun. I really had a lot of fun. There was a night I wasn't feeling too good that would go down in history. It's probably one of the worst nights I've ever had on set. But I don't know. Christ, it's really hard. When it's sung in the wedding episode, that was great. The drunk scenes, the wedding planning with the three of us, was great fun. And oh Christ, you guys going on? I'll remember a specific thing.
I liked shooting you.
Oh yeah.
And I liked marrying you. And I really liked. I loved the scene in episode 1 when you're shaving your moustache, and I go, oh. that was a lot of fun to do.
That was my favourite scene from that episode.
Was it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
That's your favourite scene?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. I wasn't in it.
Oh, the one you were in there. Go on. What about
I had
you,
fun.
Martin?
I had fun. Well, I did have a lot of fun all the way through. Actually, you know, the wedding was really,
so
really
did
good
we.
fun. Well, I think I had more fun than you, though. The wedding was great fun. I really also loved in episode 3 when we were watching. I feel like an 8-year-old watching all the soldiers walk up and down. You know, like when we were at the barracks.
Amazing.
That was great. I loved that. I really, really loved that.
That was amazing.
But I also liked it, you know, when we did, you know, really rough stuff. And, you know, and I was, you know, thinking violent thoughts.
Like when you were getting married.
Exactamo.
I was just wondering, because being like an actor in that is a really risky business to be in, I was just wondering if you had any advice for any young people wanting to go into acting, because that's what I want to do. Thanks.
Sorry, yeah, that was it. Just look to one person to answer a question for 3, and you'll be fine. No, stick with it. Just consume culture, know a little bit about what you're part of, but hold really true to who you are and what you've got to offer, because that's the first thing when you walk into a room. That's how you appear to the world, you know. And you can transform and shapeshift, and you can do all that stuff and hatbox fun. But if you have to know who you are, you have to have a solid base for anything you can then prove you can become. I don't know what stage you're at, because that's the kind of vital qualifier of drama school. Okay. Say again, sorry? Ah, cool. So you're so you're auditioning. Well, just get as many people that you can bear to see your audition piece. Just be really bold and brave about it. Get it out there. Don't be frightened of sharing that, because that's what you've got to do when you walk in a room with 2 or 3 strangers who are going to evaluate your work. And just, is it still a Shakespeare and a modern, or they? Yeah, Shakespeare and a modern. So just keep rehearsing, keep practicing it. You've got a recall. Well, you're doing really well. So just take that confidence and just keep going with it. I'm going to pass over to these 2 now, because I'm getting mushy.
Everything he just said is bullshit. I'm sorry, but that is just absolutely wrong. No, yeah, I would probably concur with that. Yeah. Yeah, well, no, I mean, good luck. It's as insane and mad and joyous as you would hope it would be. You know, the whole thing is. And I think you can only you are your own judge, and you have to be your own worst and best critic, I think. And at the end of all the other advice and all the other sort of feedback that you will get for the next however many years, it's only going to be you who follows your own path, really. Work hard. You know, be on time, learn your lines, do all the stuff, you know, like all the 101 stuff. I mean, because that stuff's important, you know. And, you know, be nice, but not too nice.
And I'd say, remember to enjoy it. That's because you can sometimes forget. And also, you absolutely have a right to be there, and remember that, because sometimes you forget that you know, that you don't have a right to be there. You'll be a good actor, and just work hard and remember, enjoy it, and you have a right to be there. And good luck.
Good luck.
Really good luck.
What aspect of your character do you most identify with?
I think we should answer that about each other. I'm my own worst judge.
Yeah, so am I.
This is dangerous, but shall we? I don't know. Or do you want to?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe
Could
not.
get
Which
on.
what? So which one of my
Which one of my characteristics
you could say
where
think
I'm like him, and
where are you
you're
like him? Okay,
and
okay.
that sort of thing.
You're like Mary in that you have
Boobs.
you have her energy. I think you share her kind of very, very vibrant energy.
And
with
I
her.
kill people for a
And you
living.
kill people.
She's very quick-witted, as you can tell.
Ben, you're a bit like Sherlock.
Oh God.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, you've said, you've said many times, and it's, and you're being modest, but it's true. It's like, well, who the fuck is like Sherlock? I mean, like no one's like
You're
Sherlock.
quite
You know what I mean?
meticulous. You have attention. Your attention to detail is very.
And I can be incredibly scatty, which is both of them as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of real flip between incredible concentration and focus and being a bit like that.
Yeah.
Is it a butterfly?
Yeah.
But hopefully my empathy skills are a bit better. That's where I'm least like him. I'm much more sort of cuddly and touchy-feely than he is. Next.
Yes, we all chimed in agreement there, didn't we?
You're loyal and lovely.
Everything anyone says about me is like me sound like a fucking dog.
But also,
You have a bite.
you're quite ruthless as well.
I'll get where I'm going. That's the other thing to remember when you're at Guildford. Fuck everybody else.
That's good to be loyal and loving. That's better than being a cock.
That's true. I can be impatient. The scene with my
Yeah,
mum
you
where
are
I'm
quite
forcing her out the
impatient.
door. There's a version of that we play at home where I'm kind of leaving and I'm going down the stairs and she's still talking to me. Which is awful. And I don't know. We love each other. It's just a dynamic, you know. And sometimes it's the other way around. But yeah, that's something I'm a little bit like him. I can be impatient sometimes. Not to the level, but yeah, a little bit.
Hello. I, like many other people, have really enjoyed seeing the supporting characters develop, especially in Series 3, and I was wondering if there's any chance of maybe a Molly and Mary spin-off where they drink wine whilst the boys are off solving cases.
There should be. There really, really should be.
Steve, you got
There's
time
a
for a
crime
spin-off?
and they don't have a clue what to do about it. They say, oh, what? Pity Sherlock's not here. Bugger. I want the Lestrade spin-off where he solves nothing. That'd be fantastic. Lestrade investigates. Not a fucking clue.
No, it'd be not. I'd love to work with Lou. She's great, and it would be like to have some. If and when it goes again, it would be nice to certainly love.
We could research it though, couldn't we?
Yeah,
Us three.
I think we could talk about maybe a sitcom.
Steve, you've got time to write it, haven't you? Come on.
Yeah, he's not busy.
Yeah. Get your finger out, for God's sake. Come on, that's right.
How do you feel about the internet fandom you have? Because you are everywhere. I mean, you only have to log on to Tumblr to see all of your faces. How do you feel about your fandom
Faces?
and all your faces? How do you feel about the success you've got from this show, and I don't know, just how you feel about it?
I'm not answering that. Just so you know.
It's very, very touching when people are properly creatively engaged in a show you're making. I mean, it genuinely is. And I say this about the other one too. There is no greater flattery than people not simply consuming it, but making more of their own. To look at a show and say, I think I've got that. I think I could do better than that. I think I could make something out of that. That's the beginning of becoming a creator yourself. So in a genuine, proper, heartfelt way, I'm saying that a fandom is the cradle of the next generation of creative people. That's fantastic. That's amazing. There is no bigger compliment. There's a weird thing where you can't really respond to it. You can't really interact with that because that's the wrong way round. Because it's not like we're there to mark your work and say, no, you've got it all wrong. That would be horrible and limiting. Eventually what happens with things like that is people make up their own stories, their own versions, their own pornographic versions in many cases. And well, what's wrong with porn?
Do they?
Yeah, they do. Yes,
Really?
they're very happy. Very happy.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Oh, should
yeah,
I be
you
happy?
are both very
Am I well
happy.
endowed?
It doesn't see daylight for long, mate. So who knows? So you're.
What does that mean?
Doesn't see daylight
Never
for
mind.
long.
But genuinely, all of that response is brilliant, and even that thing, it's extraordinary that it has that response. People become creative. Oh, Benedict, pull yourself together.
So good. That's so good. I thought I was
Somebody
I
else's
thought
go,
I was
come on.
getting it. Obviously not. I find yeah. It's a mix. I don't really look at it that much, to be honest. I don't. It is a form of flattery to be impersonated and carried on, and of course it's the bed seed. It's the seed for other things and creativity, and that's come back in the culture in good ways, as with our show in an odd sort of a way, right? But yeah, I don't engage with it personally that much. I don't. But I think the level of creativity and imagination is pretty cool. From what I've heard,
That's
But
not
it's just
dismissiveness
that
or not being pleased by it. It's just that you can't interact with it. That's
you
not
can't
how
really.
it works.
You can't really, especially when it's not what you're doing with the character yourself. If you know what I mean. It's just you can't. Sorry. What? Should I stop now? Okay, I'll stop now.
Have you heard the fan orchestra?
The which orchestra?
The fan orchestra.
No.
They're great as well.
What's the fan orchestra then?
Well, they They all play online
Oh,
to
wow.
put
Oh,
together.
brilliant.
And
Amazing.
there's a Doctor Who one, there's a Sherlock one.
Oh,
there's a-
awesome.
Well, it's literally people in their own homes playing the different orchestral parts
okay,
of the various things, and they all get together and play the Sherlock music, sometimes the Doctor Who music. It's an amazing thing. That'd be brilliant. And there's loads of it. Someone did a Sherlock meets the Doctor video
That was
edit,
incredible, wasn't it?
which was extraordinary.
Yeah.
Where they eloped
brilliant
together and John was
editing
very
and
sad.
works.
It's extraordinary. The two most asexual characters on television eloped.
Yeah.
You'd be standing in that control room saying, I don't know. I don't care either. But anyway, it's brilliantly
Yes.
done. Brilliantly done. So again, all that response is absolutely amazing.
Martin, any
Yeah, you know, it's all good. Some of it is really, really good. And I remember when I first saw it, I was really amused by it, and I was really tickled by it. You know, because some of it was very creative, and some of the art was really interesting and really creative and fantastically done. I like it when it's fun.
Yeah.
I think when it becomes like a political doctrine, that for me is not fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think when it's to be taken lightly, or when it's to be taken with a lightness of touch, that's one thing. But then when it becomes Stalinist, and when it becomes like, no, this is actually better than what you're doing, then I think, well, fine, I don't need to engage with that. You know.
But most of it shows an incredible level of engagement, doesn't it? Just fondness for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
It comes from a very good place, and some of it is startlingly brilliant. I mean, artistically,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. The
I saw a
drawings-
brilliant one the other day it was Molly, Sherlock, John and Mary, and then in the middle there was Redbeard, and they'd done it like Scooby-Doo, and it was so good. I want a print of it to put up in our house.
I'm sure someone will send you a
Yeah,
print
they
of it.
should. They should do it now.
I think we're running out of time because there is another event after this. We could talk all night, obviously, for the next few days.
Let's all go back to ours. Come on.
But I think I've got to wrap it up. I just want to ask one more thing to try and extract from you. How long will we have to wait, Sue? Come on, for the next series. Can you tell us anything about that?
We're
Anything?
discussing.
Okay.
That's it.
Discussing.
That's all I can say.
I tried. I just wanted to get some closing cheers before I thank the panel. Sue, Stephen, Benedict, Amanda and Martin. So brilliant for you all to come, to take time to answer my stupid questions and their brilliant questions. And thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.